If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/VillageXchange. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Well, who's...
Buy our merch indeed, and shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. Shout out to all you beautiful people. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
This UFO looks like, it looks like I'm wearing a strange hat. All right.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
Song numero 4.
Discordance, Axis, Jigsaw. This is what our DJ has to say. Now we're going to skip ahead to a more modern grindcore band, Discordance. Axis from New Jersey. Originally formed in 1991 as Sedition, they changed their name the following year. Here we have a band that can be a bit more chaotic. The other ones were chaotic. What do you mean?
It's grindcore. That's a genre.
But with better production that allows the chaotic riffs to shine through. The band split up and reformed multiple times, but finally split up for good in 2001 due to a member's death. They released one of my favorite grindcore albums, The Inalienable Dreamless, in 2000. All right, let's check it out.
All right, dear
Discordance,
listener,
Axis, Jigsaw.
Jigsaw. Alrighty then, let's do it. I like that.
Me too. one?
Whoa. That was probably... We've listened to literally thousands of songs.
Yeah.
It's that Ignota girl. Very, very disturbing. This was the most disturbing song we've listened to on the channel. I forgot. It was a... what was the name of the alliance? True Cult.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was Zonya's alliance. It's something Ignota was talking about, the woman who was like the monster killing all those people, killing the guys and all that.
That's what I was wondering if that was the
very
one.
disturbing. The scream here was extremely disturbing.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
like
wasn't a heavy metal scream. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was not a heavy metal scream. It sounded like this person
was it this one? Was this the name of the song you were talking about?
What? Yeah. Yeah. A ruthless, great divine protector. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so you did not like that?
Didn't like what?
That sound. Yeah.
What sound?
The scream.
I didn't dislike. It was just very, very disturbing, which I'm assuming was the point of the point of the thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, music is supposed to like be cathartic. You got something inside of yourself, you want to like spill it out. But one of the things I've noticed about music is that music also puts things inside of you.
Yep. And
so if you're not careful, music becomes the end in itself when it shouldn't be that. But the minute it becomes an end in itself, then you get shit like this, you know?
Oh, that's interesting. For you, that's how you experience this song.
Fell short at once, so you tried another, but I can't live up to your dreams. Start from the outside and find the edges. Look for patterns in the seams.
I loved this song. I loved it lyrically, too. So we're talking about a jigsaw puzzle, but it seems like they compared it to life. And it's the whole, like, you know, when you're putting a puzzle together, especially, I always found puzzles to be a sort of troubling experience because it's cathartic for me to fit the pieces in together, but it's also stressful for me to not be able to find the pieces. I hate that. And I can't stand getting to the end and missing a piece. Like, literally, that right there, that just puts me over the friggin' edge. Like, to spend that many hours and hours and hours and to miss that one piece, that's what did me in. And I couldn't really do the puzzle thing because I get, like, if people are, like, you know, hustling and bustling around too much around the area, then it's like, okay, wait a minute, what, you're gonna lose a piece. I don't want to lose a piece. So that, like, comparing that with life, because it's just a pile of pieces when you first start out, and you have to try to, like, make some sense out of all of it. Like, it makes sense because the colors kind of match, but you've got to, you know, fell short at once, so you tried another. But I can't live up to your dreams. Start from the outside, find the edges. And that was always how I always would do puzzles. Always start with the outsides and get the edges down. And once you can get the edges, now we can work our way in.
I've never caught that.
And then look for patterns in the seams, because the edges are going to tell you where they're going to fit together. And so this person is sort of like doing that with life. They're trying to find some, like, they're trying to get some logos, like get some logic in there to make this thing work. Some pieces fit together wrong. Like, there are times when you're putting a puzzle together that, like, two pieces are like, oh, I think these work. And then you put them together and you're like, nah, that's not it. They did go together, but that doesn't work. And life can be like that too. Like, there can be stuff where you're like, this kind of worked, but then you're like, no, that's not it. But you can force my teeth together. Like, again, those pieces that are, like, close, like, they don't set in. They kind of, like, there was a little bit of tweaking that you did to make them go. And again, life is like that. Like, there are times where you force stuff and you try to, you know, like, for me, like, I think about peace is such an important concept to me. And it's something that I've thought a lot about because, you know, Jesus talks about peace and he says, like, my peace I give to you. It's not as the world gives, but, you know, it also talks about it being that it passes understanding and stuff. And, like, that was something that I always had wanted in my life, but it was never something that I could actually ever grab onto. It was like that sort of, like, chasing clouds and trying to grasp onto them and never really being able to get it. I feel differently about it today, and that, you know, but, you know, people will say, yeah, you hit rock bottom or whatever. Like, I don't know. I just know that I experienced something that was, for me, so troubling that I couldn't see my way out of it. And I literally felt like there's only one answer here. And the only answer that I have is that Jesus comes through for me. And if he doesn't come through for me, like, it's over for me. Like, it was really, 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 really a very difficult thing that I had to face alone. Like, Vinny couldn't help me. Like, I was on my own, you know? Like, sometimes you want to be able to help the people that you love, but you can't. Like, some stuff, it's just you. And the reason that it's just you is because God is bringing you to the edge of that precipice. And it's like, okay, now what are you going to do? And so, like, you know, at the end here, it says, I can see you've grown tired of this game, so swipe me back into the box, Jigsaw. You know, like, it's this, I can't make sense of this, and it's this sort of like, you know, maybe that means you end it all, maybe that means you scrap that one and you start another one. Like, there's, you know, it kind of leaves it open-ended, but the screaming that she did in there was, I thought, perfect. Because for me, when I get in these points in my life where I feel like I'm kind of like, there's only wrong pieces and I can't seem to find any right pieces. Like, I'll like hear, like, literally a slamming door. And, like, I had that, like, it was just, I don't know, it was just a really hard point. And I experienced something like I could, it's not a path that I could tell somebody, oh, this is how you get there and this is how you can find that peace. But once you have it, like, for me, like, I have it and I'm like, okay. And I know that it's just Jesus, because I know now that it doesn't matter, like, if, like, everything falls apart, because I realize, like, I've already lost a baby, and, like, there's that sort of troubling idea that, like, what if something happens? I mean, I have so many kids, like, what are the chances something doesn't happen to one of them? And, like, those kind of thoughts start, like, kind of like overwhelming. And then then I think about Job. And Job is an interesting story in the Bible, because he goes through, like, all this really bad stuff, like, everything. He loses everything. And that story used to really bug me, because it almost sounded like God was, like, playing a game at the beginning, because here comes the devil talking to God, and he's like, you know, have you noticed Job? And now he's like, you know, like, God is saying this to the devil. I'm like, why is he even having a conversation with the devil like this? And then he's like, have you noticed Job? And I'm like, why are you drawing this attention to him? And then the devil's like, well, yeah, I mean, but it's obvious why he's, like, so good in serving you like that. Take everything that he has and you'll see he's not going to serve you. And so God basically says, all right, like, you can't take his life, but, like,
yeah,
the pieces are all in front of you. And he really, really fucks with Job. And, like, he takes all his kids, and when he takes the life of his kids, it's like in a single, like, the wind blows and, like, the building crashes down and, like, all, they're gone. And, like, I'm like, that concept is so troubling, because it doesn't matter that at the end of the book he got his kids back. I'm like, well, he didn't get his kids back. He got more kids. And I was always like, I don't think that adds up. And, you know, when I became a parent, I was like, it doesn't add up. And I don't understand how come at the end of the book, like, you know, Job works it out with God. Like, I was like, I don't get it. It really didn't make any sense to me. And then you have, like, you know, sorry if I'm talking too much, but then you have in James 5:11, he says, like, that God was both compassionate and merciful in his dealings with Job. And that really used to bug me, because I'm like, come on, bro. Like, where was the compassion when he crashed the building down on him, or when he took everything that he had, or how about when he was, like, literally scraping his body with, like, pots, because that's, like, he had boils on his skin and that was all he had, like a broken pottery he was scraping his boils with. And I used to think about that, because I'm, like, prone to getting poison ivy, and in Maine, like, there's so many opportunities for it. So every time that I get poison ivy, it's like calamine lotion and all that stuff, it never works. I have to end up going to the doctors. They have to give me a prescription. It's a big giant thing. But every time I would get to that point where, like, it's like literally oozing and dripping from my arm, I'm like, I would think about Job, and I'm like, here's Job. He has no doctor's office to go to fix these problems. And then his wife tells him, curse God and die. Now that I'm married, I realize the importance of having somebody when you have somebody in your life that can tell you something positive that helps you. But when you're already discouraged and you're already, like, low, and then somebody says something, like, discouraging to you, and it's like, she tells him, curse God and die. Like, okay, that's not very good. Like, that, what was she thinking? But anyway,
I thought once you get poison ivy, you gain an immunity to it.
No.
That's a
well,
myth.
I don't know if that works for other people, but it's like, it's not for me. I've had it so many times, and it literally like just spreads, and then the more that it oozes, the more that it spreads. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. Anyway, so it was that idea, you know, like what's compassionate, what's merciful about this doesn't make any sense. And then you have at the end of the book of Job, he says, which never again made sense to me until now. He says, before I heard about you through the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. And so Job at the end recognizes the value of seeing God. And I've had like a lot of good things in my life, and I've gone through phases where even the good things, I couldn't see them as good. And it was just like negativity, and it was just dark, you know? And that's a big thing. Like when you can see God's goodness is good, like you're in a really good place. If you miss a sunset because, you know, life is such that you can't see how beautiful that sunset is anymore, like you have to be in a state of peace to be able to see those things around you as good, and to even be able to see the sunset regardless. So I this song was really super meaningful to me. That scream that she did was like that sound, like, you know, there are experiences in your life that, you know, those sounds are perfect, you know, like
this, like, for me, like as a parent, I'm reading this as a child, not being able to live up to their parents' expectations. I can't live up to your dreams. Some pieces fit together wrong, remaining parts seem to fit nowhere, but you can force my teeth together if you think it'll make you happy. So to me,
I did the proverbial you again. Okay.
Well, it's
yeah,
art.
No,
it's
yeah,
art.
I know.
But
Yeah.
like,
So
to me, it's like I think a lot about LGBT kids, and it's funny because, you know, certain topics that get brought up in Middle America, like, you know how our generation is. If you don't agree with them on every point, then you hate them. Literally hate them. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking about LGBT kids, and like that perpetual state of disappointment that your parents would have, or a trans kid. And I'm not talking about like the fatty stuff. I'm talking about you got serious gender dysphoria. Not this other shit. Not the rapid onset stuff. You got serious gender dysphoria. Like, that child can't help that. If the boy is effeminate, he can't help that. If the girl is a tomboy, she can't help that. But the church, you know, people talk, yada, yada, yada. I was listening to, I think his name is Kellen Conrad. And I don't know what his pronouns are. I mean, the guy's got a beard. It's going to be a him for me. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. But he was talking about how he went to, you know, he was in church and stuff. And then one of his friends said at the end of the service, she said, how did you deal with the priest talking about you? And he's like, what are you talking about? He never said nothing about me.
Oh, yeah.
And then she was like, well, he talked about being gay and how horrible that was. And it's like, he's super effeminate. Like, you know, he's gay immediately. But I guess, like, I don't know what it's like to, like, have, like, a major part of my life be unknown by my family, but still known, because it's like, how could you not, like, obviously
talked about, and
like, you know, like, I don't know. That's the shit that kills me, is that then the, you know, you send the kid off to some camp, you know, because he's got, you know, I don't know, man. The scripture says all sexual sins are sins that you commit against your own body. There are other categories of sin that are not sins against your own body, but sins against other people. And in God's priority list, those sins carry more weight than the other ones.
Yep.
All I could say is, if you're in the LGBT community, I don't got any answers for you. All I got is, look, even if the Bible said homosexuality, trans, all that's A-okay, you'd still be on the way to hell. Because
let's say that your transness or your LGBTness has nothing to do with anything. You're still bad. You're still as bad as me in other areas. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell you, like, I'm never going to compromise what the Bible says. All I can say is if you're even intrigued by Jesus of Nazareth, tell him you want to know him and want to follow him, and then tell him, look, if he actually did die for your sin, like if there's a literal person in a dimension right now named Jesus with literal holes in his body still, if that's literally true, then he's worth everything. He's more important than your kids, your family. If he really did that and rose from the dead, he's worth more than anything. So all I can tell you is that if you're in the LGBT community, just tell Jesus you're going to follow him wherever he takes you. And tell him, say, I don't see what you're saying here with this stuff, but give me the strength to follow you. I pray that prayer all the time. I just tell God to give me the strength to help me follow him. Augustine says, "Oh Lord, grant whatever, command whatever you wish, but grant what you command." So hold me to any standard possible. Just give me the power to walk it through, because he's got self-awareness and he knows he can't do it by himself. But anyway,
I loved the song. I mean,
the insights with the jigsaw puzzle thing, no diss. This was probably one of my favorite breakdowns from you.
Thanks.
I missed a lot of that shit. I was completely missing Dwayne in this bitch.
You haven't been so troubled by puzzles as I have been, obviously.
Oh man,
Dwayne with his lies,
with his sugary lies.
Lies.
We've got one more song for you, beautiful people.
Oh wait, I didn't rate this one. I'm gonna give this one an. It was just so perfectly relatable. I'm gonna give this one a 9.9, and I loved her scream in there.
Agree. I'm gonna give this one a 9.8. The song of the night for me so far. Pretty challenging lyrics for sure. We got one more song, dear listener. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you are on Twitter and you send us evidence of you retweeting this thing, you get put in a drawing for a free song. So you're gonna want to do that. I'm sure you're gonna want to do that.
And just to be clear, I don't know when I said this part, I feel like I didn't actually get to finish the thing.
Yeah.
There's been times where I felt so absolutely discouraged, and Vinny has said things without knowing it that has encouraged my heart. So I just say that to say it's important to have people in your corner and people that are gonna, I don't believe that Vinny came with that. I don't believe that the things that you say necessarily came from you. I think that God has you say certain things and then you say them. And so, I don't know. Shout out to I'm sorry, but if we're saying that we hear from God directly, it does give us a leg up over the rest of people. So I'm just saying I appreciate it. I appreciate you. All right, we'll be back.
We'll be back, dear listener. Vin out.
Sori out.
Down.